Good morning. Welcome to Hot Evolution episode number 11. It is a Monday, so there were no mail days yesterday to talk about. The current Cubs count in the 1 million Cubs project stands at 470,012. So what I did since yesterday's episode, Sunday, was basically an entirety spent in the hobby. I did a lot of shipping yesterday. From Thursday through Sunday, I think I shipped out over 150 items that sold from my eBay store. So a lot of shipping was done on Sunday, and also I was working on a blog. I actually have the blog written. I'm just waiting to find a picture. So my mom's on the search for a picture from my childhood that I need to get the blog post completed. But in the meantime, I was searching myself for some photos, and I did find a couple for that blog post. But I also found a bunch of stuff that my mom gave me a couple months ago when I went home to visit. A lot of my school stuff, and like myself, look behind me. I keep things. My mom keeps things. I think that's where I get that trait. But I always, whenever I go home, I still have the room I grew up in the closet. There's still some stuff in there that I like to keep there. Just every once in a while, I'll dig through boxes. It's mainly just old magazines, Sports Illustrateds from the 90s and stuff like that. Nothing that I can throw on eBay. Nothing that's sentimental. Just it's fun to dig through a couple boxes when I'm back home. But this stuff that she gave me a couple months ago, I had not seen in a long time. So it was kind of neat to go through stuff. A lot of it was stuff from high school. There was a folder with newspapers from graduation, various sports programs. I did find there's a junior high box, which I'll dive into a couple things here that I found that's pretty neat. I think it's from fourth or fifth grade, where we had to say like three nice things about the rest of our class. And it's funny to read. Everybody wrote about me was he's good at sports, and that didn't turn out. So maybe in fourth grade I was good in sports, but I did not evolve with my sports playing. But I did find, speaking of sports, in sixth grade we had to write a term paper on what we want to do in life when we become adults. And I chose to be a sports announcer, which I ended up doing for about 12 years. So it was pretty neat, and I kind of cringed as I read through, just my grammar and how I wrote was pretty cringeworthy. But, I always remember, because in sixth grade, I wanted to be a sports announcer. And the reason I chose sports announcer was anytime we had to write a paper where, we chose the topic, I wanted it to be sports. I mean, that's all I, read about. I did more reading of Sports Illustrated than homework. It was sports. So any chance I had, I would write about sports. And, I figured, hey, sports announcer, it's a career. So that's what I want to write my paper about. And so I did. And that's what I ended up being as an adult for, the first 12 years of adulthood. I also found, and this, I love how it's printed. I think these were written or typed on Apple II computers. So this was junior high. So it's dated. So it's the 93-94 school year, which would be sixth grade for me. And as I read through some of the entries, it brought back some great memories, because often you forget things so trivial in your life, especially something that's 25 years ago. So a lot of this I remembered through March. I was predicting who I thought would be in the Final Four, and I think my initial, March 17th, My journal entry today starts the NCAA tournament. I list off some of the teams that were in the tournament. My pick pre-tournament in the Final Four was North Carolina, Missouri, Arkansas, and Duke. And I believe Duke and Arkansas were in the national championship game that year. So I nailed two of the four. So that was pretty cool. And in '94, I didn't think I was into cards at that time. I definitely was not into baseball because that was the year of the strike. I had drifted into basketball cards by like '92 with Shaq. So like '92, '93, I was all NBA. Loved basketball, loved college basketball. I drifted away from baseball and even football a little bit. So I thought I was out of cards by '94. But I think that was maybe '95, '96 because I remember either trading off or selling all of my basketball cards. And at the time, I had a great collection. Grant Hill and Shaq and Alonzo Mourning. I had some great cards. Glenn Robinson, because he's mentioned here in this May entry. So I'm going to read a couple of these entries because I thought they were cool, and maybe others that are my age and have similar interest will get a kick out of this as well. Because in this entry, I also mentioned the Cubs. So I thought that was really neat. So I was still into cards. I was into basketball cards. This is May 1994. I was a sixth grader. This was a journal for, I think, a computer class we took. So May 6, '94, there are only 16 days of school left now. I am feeling good because it's Friday. I might spend the night at Luke's tonight. And last weekend, I went to Pizza Hut for my friend's birthday. We also went to Walmart. I lived in a small town, so those were big deals. Glenn Robinson is going out for the NBA draft. Chris Webber got the basketball rookie of the year. And here's my cards. I got over 100 more basketball cards from my neighbor at his garage sale. Now I have exactly 2,250 basketball cards. So my neighbor was Bill. And I actually wrote a blog about baseball card Bill. He always had garage sales, and he was a big time collector. And always would pick up stuff. He had some great '70s basketball cards, and that's probably what I picked up at this garage sale. So I talked about basketball cards. The Cubs finally won a game at home. They are now 1-13 at home. '94 was not a good start for them. They broke a record for most losing games at home. They were 0-12 at home before their first win. In WWF Wrestling, there is a new tag team champion and new intercontinental champion. The new tag team champions are the Head Shrinkers. The new intercontinental champion is Diesel. He defeated Razor Ramon. The Head Shrinkers beat the Quebecers. And some new basketball cards I got were Jerry Lucas from the '70s stack I bought, Alonzo Mourning, Chris Webber, Scott Burrell, Bob Love, and Norm Van Leer. Van Leer and Love were ex-Chicago Bulls, and I think those were early '70s cards that I picked up from Baseball Card Bill as well. So that was from May 6, 1994, and I'll read one more entry from May of '94, a few days later. So this was recapping. So that was a Friday entry. So this is recapping the weekend. Friday, I stayed at Luke's house for the night. Saturday, we went to Geneseo, and Geneseo was, my town was about 900 people. Geneseo was one of the bigger cities in the area. It was about 10 miles away. It had a Walmart, it had a McDonald's, and stoplights. It was about 10 miles down the road, a big city of about 6,000 in population. So we went to Geneseo. We had to take his dog to the vet. After we went to the vet, we went to Hart's Cards, and Hart's Cards in Geneseo was a baseball card shop, and they actually lasted a long time. They did survive the breakdown of baseball card shops in the mid '90s. There were at one time, so there were two larger cities next to me, 6,000 and 12,000. Kewanee was to the south. It had, I think, at one time 4 card shops. There was a small town next to me that had 1 card shop, and then Geneseo at one time had 2 or 3. So there were about 10 card shops within a 10-mile, 12-mile radius. But Hart's Cards, they survived, and they kind of adapted to Beanie Babies in the late '90s, and then I think they went to Magic and Pokemon when that stuff came out. I think they closed at some point in the 2000s, but they did survive when most shops closed in the mid '90s. So we went to Hearts Cards, and I bought 3 packs of Tops and a pack of Upper Deck holograms. Remember holograms? They were huge in the '90s. I got a Jamal Mashburn and Dino Raja rookie cards. I don't know much about. I don't know much how much the Upper Deck are worth, though. Then we went back to Luke's house. We this next sentence. This is small town living here. We made a trampoline out of an old bed spring and some like wood stuff that holds up docks. So Luke lived on a lake. It was like a membership lake, and his parents were caretakers, and we would dive into everything, go in the woods and find old stuff. And so we made a trampoline out of a bed spring. We used it to hold up. We used the wood stuff from the docks to hold up the bed spring. It was fun. That was on Friday. On Saturday, my mom picked me up and at about 1:30. Then Luke spent the night at my house on Saturday night. Then at about 3, we went to Walmart and Eagles. Also, me and Luke went to the card shop again. Eagles was a grocery store, Eagle Country Market. I got a whole bunch more cards. So that was the extent of that journal entry. So I got a kick out of that, and it brought back some memories because I haven't read this in 20 years. So that was how Sunday was spent, packaging up cards and reading my 6th grade journal and 6th grade career term paper. So that's going to wrap things up for Monday. Thanks for tuning in. Back at you tomorrow, and we'll talk about whatever's going on in the hobby here today. Thanks for watching.